John McDonald from JM Run Coach. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what do you do when things don't go exactly to plan in a marathon. A lot of people this year, particularly in the spring marathon season, have found results that were outside of what their potential was and what they had trained for. A lot of it outside of their control. And we'll talk a little bit about how to take the positives out of something like that. I've also got some exciting news from my end as to some of the projects that I'm working on. So stick around and I'll go through that at the end. Okay, so to start, I'll talk a little bit about my personal experience with the London Marathon. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed the event. It was amazing. For me, it was a really nice day. A lot of people found it a little bit too hot. And I will say, I did not perform particularly great. And that is the case when the temperatures do get a little bit warmer. No matter where you're from, no matter how well heat adapted you are, you'll have a little bit less of a detrimental effect. The heat will have a little bit less of an effect on your result than, say, somebody that is not heat adapted, but it is still not ideal conditions to be running in temperatures, say, above 18, 19 degrees. In London this year, I believe it was over 20 degrees, so not exactly ideal. However, there was a lot of positives to take out of it, and let's start there. After my experience in Valencia in December, I decided I was going to put no pressure on myself for London. I trained really hard, and I was in, and I still am, in probably the best shape I've ever been in. I'm at a really good racing weight. I'm feeling strong. I'm running fast. My splits on my intervals are really good. You know, a couple of things that I look for as far as key indicators for marathon fitness is my average daily resting heart rate, as well as where my steady pace is on a normal everyday steady run. And both of those indicators were spot on in my lead up to London. So not putting any pressure on myself, I figured a sub 3 would be relatively comfortable, and I wasn't going to be looking at the watch constantly. I took a peek at the watch at about 2K and decided, okay, I'm not going to look, I'm going to only look every 10K. Just something different. It's always a good idea to try things out. I thought maybe not looking at the watch and looking at my every split, it may take a little bit of pressure off. At 10K, I was okay, still well on for a sub 3. 20K, I was still there or thereabouts. I was under 130, which is fine. It wasn't as fast as I have been in the past, but still, without putting any pressure on myself, I thought, okay, I'm in the ballpark. I should be able to get sub 3. Well, it didn't turn out that way in the latter stages of the race. I really found a bit of a struggle, but I think in discussing the day with so many other runners, I was not alone in that struggle. The last few miles for everybody seemed to be difficult. So what are you going to do? I ended up 3:03:59 was my official time. Took part in the Guinness World Record marathon event, which is always nice to have on your resume. But yeah, what are you going to say? It wasn't where I could have possibly ran. I should have been capable of, 2:55, I think. But was I happy with it? Absolutely. You have to be happy with that. So let me put it to you. What do you do when you train really hard, 12, 16, 20 weeks, and you don't run to your potential? Well, there's still a lot you can take out of it. First of all, you learn from the race. What went well, what didn't go well. There's plenty to get out of every race. The other thing, you've got things that you have control over. You have control over all your training, all your nutrition, all your recovery and your hydration and all the good habits and everything that goes into a training block. If you did all of those things and it didn't go to plan because of something outside your control, that happens, right? It's really difficult to live with, but it happens. And having done so many marathons myself, I fully appreciate that not every race is going to go perfect. So in this case, it was probably the weather, and most people that suffered in the heat would tell you the same thing. It was just not ideal. But that's something that's out of your control. The congestion is out of your control. Sometimes you can't even get close to that blue line, right? Because there's so many people. You're just in a bad position and you need to weave in and out. That time or that additional distance is going to add time to your bottom line. That's probably out of your control. There's just a lot of things. Your physical health. Sometimes you get to the start line and you got a cold 2 days before and you don't even realize it, but it's taking a little bit of your running ability away. So that is something that you don't really have control over. And so these things happen. Pick yourself up, move on, and sign up for the next one, right? That's the thing about spring and autumn marathons. Never mind the summer marathons, but the spring and autumn marathons, those temperatures can go really cold, really hot, really wet, really windy, or anywhere in between, right? So we do tend to get better weather in the spring and the autumn, but you just don't know, and it's out of your control. Control the controllables. That's always a good mindset. And if things aren't going to plan and things aren't in your control, well, that's just part of the game.
Control the controllables attitude. When do we control the controllable focus? When do we control the controllables commitment, dedication, spirit, the energy and the passion that I bring into an environment? When do we control the controllable? I couldn't control. I got a paralyzed right arm and hand. I couldn't control my career ended. I couldn't even plan for it. But when it happened, I could step back and say, okay, life, I can no longer play the game of football, but let me extract that dedication and commitment from the game.
You have 12, 16, 20 weeks of solid training behind you. That is something that you can take out of this, as well as any lessons learned in the race. You've covered serious volume. You've done a lot of good, solid, intense training sessions. You can take that into your early summer, late spring, early summer racing season. I always like to recommend a 5K the third weekend after a marathon, especially a marathon that you've trained hard for. Your body is just in really good condition. So the first week after the marathon, a nice light week, maybe 10K in total. And in the second week, I like to put in a little bit more intensity, maybe a short tempo, maybe a progression run. Don't know necessarily about intervals, but if you want to do intervals, maybe short intervals with short recovery breaks. And then in the third week, in the early third week, a little bit more intensity, something similar, either a short tempo, a short progression run, short intervals, that kind of thing. And then just a mini 2-3 day taper into a 5K or a 10K. And your body will be really raring to go and just in a really good place to hit a personal best in a shorter distance. So that's what I like to do. And coming off my marathon training for London, I feel like I'm in really good shape at the minute. And I've transitioned. I took my first week, I did next to nothing. My second week, I started to add some things in. There are no 5Ks, 10Ks near me here at the minute. But what I am starting into is a 5K improvement program. So I've given myself some really good sessions with the intention of trying to break my 5K personal best. And so that's what I'd love to do. I don't know where I could find a 5K around here, but if I have to travel, I might have to travel. So the other thing to remember is if your spring marathon or any marathon doesn't come off the way you expected it to or within what you are capable of, doesn't mean that that is going to define you as a runner. It doesn't define how your season is going to go. You have plenty of opportunity now to take the fitness that you earned through your hard training for the marathon and put that towards either another marathon, later in the year, or into some shorter distance races that you can really go out and smash some spectacular times in. That fitness is not going to leave you anytime soon. And I've just published my 6th book called The Beginner Runner's Manual. It covers so much information that anybody that is interested in getting started in running may not have thought of, but it just simplifies the whole process. My ultimate goal in the sport, as a coach, as a passionate runner, is to get as many people involved in the sport, and some of the advice and the tips and the information in my Beginner Runner's Manual will just simplify the process for somebody that's looking to get in. There's also plans in there for, a Couch to 5K. There's a 5K improvement plan. There's a plan to get you from 5K to 10K. So there's things in the book that will help anybody trying to get into running get into running. So it makes a great gift. You don't have to be a beginner runner to take something out of these pages. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that I've had an online running community for a long time, both on a website as well as on social media, and I've neglected it for a long time. But I'm in the process, my wife and I are in the process of relaunching the Achieve Running Club as a website where we want to build a massive community of supportive and like-minded people. And I really want to spread the word of the positivity and all the things that running offers the general public. So running has been a huge benefit to me, from being a runner, starting out way overweight, dropping over 50% of my entire body weight through the sport of running. It has helped me recover from having the stroke and heart surgery a few years back. It has been, my mental health has benefited greatly. There's just been so many things in my life that have been positively affected by the sport of running. And I really want to grow that community and spread that benefit I'd love to spread it to the entire world. So over the next few weeks, the website should be done in roughly 4 or 5 weeks. In the meantime, I will be posting more and more content on the social media channels that we have for Achieve Running Club. And I'd love to see you out there and, add to the community. The more people involved, the more experience, the more positivity and support, the better. And I think the more people that run, the better this world will be. And, the better you will be for spreading the word. And yeah, so please help me in that regard. There will be plenty of interesting and good content across all the social media and on the website. And I'll keep you as informed with the updates on that. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next video.